The sun was already setting, casting long shadows over the bustling city as I left the office, the drone of my daily routine buzzing persistently in my head. Just as I reached for my car keys, my phone vibrated sharply against the quiet hum of the evening. An unknown number flashed on the screen, and hesitantly, I answered. "Hello? Hi, is this Mark?" The voice was tense, a thread of urgency woven through each word. "Yes, speaking." "Who is this?" My name is Leo. I work with Rosie." Leo, a name barely familiar, one I might have heard Rosie mention in passing, a mere shadow in the backdrop of her expansive social circle at work. Curiosity piqued, I leaned against my car, the cool metal a sharp contrast to the slow heat building in my chest. "Is everything all right?" I asked, my voice steadier than I felt. "Not really, Mark. I think we need to meet. It's about Rosie." Alarm bells rang faintly in the distance of my mind. "Can you tell me what this is about?" "It's something I should say in person. I'm at the Blue Tavern, near your office. Can you come?" The urgency in his voice, tinged with a guilt that seemed to seep through the phone, set my nerves on edge. Agreement was a silent nod, even though he couldn't see it. "All right, I'll be there." The Blue Tavern was dimly lit, the kind of place that kept its secrets hidden in shadowy corners. I found Leo at a booth, his hands wrapped tightly around a glass, his eyes darting nervously around the room. "Mark, thanks for coming," he greeted, his voice a low whisper, as if the walls themselves were eavesdropping. "What's going on, Leo?" I demanded, my patience fraying as I slid into the booth opposite him. He sighed, a deep, soulful sound that seemed to carry the weight of the world. "I've been carrying this around for months, and I can't do it anymore. It's killing me." "Just tell me," I pressed, my heart thumping painfully against my ribs. "It's Rosie and our boss, Mr. Collins. They've been seeing each other." "Everyone knows, Mark." "I thought you did too." His words hit me like a physical blow, the air knocked cleanly from my lungs. Rosie, my wife, the woman who kissed me goodbye every morning with a smile that never reached her eyes, I hadn't seen it until now. "How long?" My voice was a strangled whisper. "Months. Since the last Christmas party." He looked away, unable to meet my eyes. Anger, hot and fiery, coursed through me, but it was the cold, calculating part of my brain that spoke next. "Why are you telling me this now?" Leo's eyes were full of remorse. "Because it's wrong, and you deserve better. And I think I've seen enough to help you, if you want revenge." "Revenge?" The word echoed in my mind, a seductive whisper that promised justice. Yes, I wanted revenge. Not a dramatic showdown or a scandal splashed across social media. Something more insidious, more fitting for the betrayal so profound. "Tell me everything," I said, my voice steady, my decision made. As Leo spilled the sordid details, a plan began to take shape in my mind, a plan that would shatter the life Rosie had built on lies. As I left the tavern that night, the shadows felt deeper, darker, and I welcomed them. They were a fitting match for the new path I had chosen, one paved with betrayal and looming retribution. I drive away from the Blue Tavern, my mind racing faster than the city lights blurring past. Every red light is a moment to pause, to seethe, to plan. By the time I pull into the driveway of what was once our shared sanctuary, the skeleton of my revenge is fully articulated in my thoughts. Inside, the house is quiet, Rose's laughter absent as it often has been these past months. The signs were there, but I had chosen comfort over confrontation. Not anymore. I head straight to our home office, a room where many of our shared dreams were planned and where I now plot her downfall. I sit at the computer, logging in. The screen comes to life, and I'm in, deeper into the system than I've ever gone before. My fingers fly over the keys, pulling up financial statements, credit card receipts, and our shared calendar. The evidence of her betrayal is there, not just in Leo's words, but in every lavish, unexplained expense and every business trip that coincided suspiciously with Mr. Collins's. "Working late again tonight?" Rose's voice cuts through the stillness, startling me. I swivel in the chair to face her. She stands in the doorway, a practiced smile on her lips that doesn't quite reach her eyes. Just wrapping up some things, I reply, my tone neutral, belying the storm of emotions within. She nods, drifting closer. I made dinner. It's just about ready. That sounds great. I'll be there in a minute. My response is automatic, but I watch her retreating figure with new eyes, seeing the stranger she has become. Dinner is a quiet affair. Rosie talks about her day, her words skimming the surface of our life together like stones across a pond. I nod and smile, playing the part of the oblivious husband one last time. Later, in the solitude of our bedroom, I open my laptop and begin the real work. I draft an email to Mr. Collins from an untraceable account. The message is simple, a demand for a substantial sum, backed by the threat of exposing their affair. It's a bluff, primarily meant to rattle him, to stir the pot. I hit send, feeling a grim satisfaction as the message disappears into the ether. The following morning, I rise early, my purpose clear. I drive to Rose's office under the guise of a surprise lunch date. I arrive just in time to see the fallout of last night's email. As I walk through the lobby, I spot Rosie and Mr. Collins in heated conversation by the elevators. They don't notice me at first, too caught up in their clandestine disaster. Mr. Collins looks particularly shaken, his usual composed demeanor crumbling under pressure. I approach, my footsteps echoing louder with each step. Rosie, Mr. Collins, what a surprise to find you both here together. Rosie jumps, her face paling as she sees me. Mark! What are you doing here? Just thought I'd surprise you with lunch, I say, my voice calm, belying the chaos I feel inside. But it seems you already have company. Mr. Collins recovers first, extending his hand, though it trembles slightly. Mark, good to see you. I ignore his hand, my eyes fixed on Rosie. It seems I've interrupted something important. We can reschedule. No, Mark, it's not. Save it, Rosie, I cut her off, my voice low and cold. I turn and walk away, leaving them in stunned silence. Back in my car, I can't help but smile. The seeds of discord are sown, and the spectre of exposure looms large over them. It's just the beginning, and while the path is dark, it leads inexorably to my intended destination, retribution. As I drive away from Rose's office, the adrenaline still surges through me, mixing with a brew of anger and satisfaction. Each red light is a reminder to breathe, to focus on the next phase. The pieces are moving, the dominoes beginning to topple, but the biggest confrontation is yet to come. I don't go straight home. Instead, I head to a small, nondescript cafe on the outskirts of town, a place where anonymity is guaranteed. There, over a bitter cup of coffee, I draft the next message. This one is for Rosie, but she won't receive it from me. I use another burner account, one she won't trace back to Leo or myself. The message is succinct, a simple notification that her affair is known and that her world is about to crumble. I attach a photo, one I secretly snapped of her and Mr. Collins in that heated moment by the elevators. The photo is slightly blurred, the figures just recognizable enough to incite panic. I press send, imagining her shock, her fear. It's a cruel pleasure, but it's all that sustains me now. Returning home, I find Rosie in the living room, her face pale, her phone clutched tightly in her hands. She looks up as I enter, her eyes wide, a mix of fear and confusion. Mark, we need to talk, she begins, her voice trembling. I agree, I say, keeping my tone even, my posture relaxed. I sit across from her, waiting for her to start. Her lips part, words failing her momentarily. Then, with a deep breath, she starts, I got an email today, someone knows about me, Anne. And Mr. Collins? I finish for her, my voice cold. Yes, I know. Her eyes search mine, desperate for a sign of understanding, of forgiveness. It's not what you think, Mark. It was a mistake, a terrible mistake. A mistake that lasted months? I challenge, my voice rising despite my control. How could you, Rosie? How could you do this to us? I was going to end it, I swear. It just got out of hand. And now, someone is threatening to expose everything. They sent a photo, Mark. What are we going to do? The use of we irritates me, her presumption that I would scramble to save this sham of a marriage. What are you going to do, Rosie? This is your mess. I won't cover for you. Not anymore. Her face crumples, tears spilling over. Please, Mark. I love you. I don't want to lose you. Help me fix this. The plea weakens my resolve for a moment, but the anger, the betrayal, reasserts itself forcefully. Love? I scoff. You have a strange way of showing it. I stand, my decision clear. I want a divorce, Rosie. I can't do this. I can't be with someone I don't trust, someone who doesn't respect me. She sobs, her body shaking. Please, don't do this. We can go to counseling. We can try. It's too late for that, I say firmly, cutting off her pleas. I'll be staying at a hotel tonight. I'll contact a lawyer in the morning. As I pack a bag with essentials, the finality of the situation sinks in. The love I had for her, once vibrant and illuminating, is now just a shadow, a memory of something beautiful that turned ugly. When I look back at Rosie from the doorway, her figure is small, broken. But my path is set. I step out, closing the door on our life together, on a marriage built on lies. My heart is heavy, but my resolve is solid. The retribution is not complete, but the most painful cut has been made. Now, it's just a matter of finalizing the end. The sharp chill of the early morning air bites at my skin as I stand outside the hotel, the sky a dim prelude to dawn. My mind is a whirlwind of cold thoughts, each plan more severe than the last. Today marks the end of everything, my marriage, the deceit, and Rose's facade of a perfect life. I drive to the office of Mr. Collins, the scene of many undisclosed sins. It's early, but I know he's there. Men like him don't rise to the top by resting. As I push through the revolving doors, a sense of finality settles over me. I don't knock. Instead, I let myself into his office, catching him off guard amidst a mountain of paperwork. His face registers shock, then fear as he sees the determination in my eyes. Mark, what are you? This ends today, Mr. Collins, I cut him off, my voice steely. Your affair with my wife, your little games, they're over. He stands, his demeanor attempting authority. Now, Mark, let's be reasonable. We can talk about this. There's nothing left to talk about, I say as I pull out my phone, showing him the screen. It displays transactions, large sums of money transferred from the company to a private account, his little slush fund. I wonder what the board would think about this? Collins pales, his composure crumbling. You wouldn't dare. I have nothing left to lose, I reply flatly. But you do. I watch him struggle internally, the gears turning desperately. Finally, he nods, beaten. What do you want? Resign. Publicly. Cite personal reasons, or I go to the press with this. I wave my phone, the evidence glaring brightly. And leave Rosie. If I can't have her, you certainly won't. His defeat is palpable as he sinks back into his chair, nodding slowly. All right. I'll do it. I leave his office with a hollow victory echoing in my chest. The parting shot to his career will have to suffice for now. The final act requires a return home, to the house I once shared with Rosie. She's there, waiting, hope flickering in her eyes when she sees me. It's pathetic. Mark, you're here. Did you reconsider? Can we? No, Rosie, I interrupt, the coldness in my voice sharper than the morning air. I came to say goodbye. Her face falls, and a part of me aches to comfort her, but that part is a ghost now, faded and gone. I've taken care of Mr. Collins. He won't be a problem anymore. I inform her, my words devoid of warmth. What do you mean, she stammers, confusion and fear mingling. He's resigning. Today. And he won't be seeing you again. That's non-negotiable. Rosie looked stunned, her dreams dissolving before her. You didn't have to do that. You're ruining his life. Like you ruined ours? My laugh is bitter, echoing in the empty space between us. It's done. And now, so are we. Her tears start anew, and something inside me breaks further, but it's too late for regrets. I'll send for my things. You won't see me again. Turning to leave, I don't look back. The sound of her crying follows me out, a mournful soundtrack to the end of our shared life. As I drive away, the first rays of sunlight break across the horizon, signaling a new day. It feels neither warm nor promising. Today, I lost everything. My wife, a semblance of peace, and a part of my soul. But the deceit is wiped clean, and the betrayers have paid dearly. The victory, if it can be called that, is Pyrrhic. As the city awakens, I drive into the day, alone and unburdened by lies, but haunted forever by the cost of retribution.